So it looks like Leviton has built a pretty neat outlet right here called the Decora Edge. They like to use the slogan, push, click, and done. Well, we're going to see if it really is that easy. Now, they've taken the side screw terminals and eliminated them and incorporated a Wago-style connector like you see right here. Now, we're going to explore that and see how that works. So I might be asking myself, am I really going to use this in the future? Well, how much do these things cost? Okay, where do I get one? All stuff like that are relevant questions that we're going to answer right here. So stay tuned. Without further ado, let's dive right in. Okay, so before we actually install this thing, I wanted to show you a couple of neat features about the receptacle. One is they have the strip gauge kind of molded right into the side right here. It gives you an exact amount of wire to strip back or insulation to strip back. You want to be careful not to strip back too much like this right here. And I'll show you why here in just a minute, okay? And the next thing is this kind of has these oversized tabs right here in case somebody was careless with cutting the drywall and they made it too big around your box. This will help with that and it'll still sit on the drywall. Now, this is a medium size cover right here and that fits perfectly fine, right? But on a standard size cover, you may have to break these tabs off just so it'll fit better and it's not sticking up off of the wall. All right, so as you know, this has been the outlet standard right here. This is the cheapo that you used to be able to get for like 60 cents, but I think they've gone up a bit since then. This one's got the backstabbing option right here for the 14 gauge wire where you just kind of push that in there and like, oh wow, that's easy and it's done. But you know, I've never been a fan of this. Over time, these things can loosen up and cause a high resistance connection, and high resistance connections cause heat. So that's bad news all the way around. Now on this other outlet right here, this connection is not the same thing as the backstabbing outlet. If you take these things apart, they are kind of a prosumer grade. I wouldn't call it commercial grade like this commercial grade outlet. If you're finding any value in this video, please subscribe to this channel. I come out with videos like this as often as I can. Now, one of the things that I do like about this outlet is its safety factor. Now, this is a metal box, right? And you've got these screws. Now, granted, there is a pretty good gap right here next to the screws. But say if you're installing it, and you know, some people would do this live, for example. Well, those screws can hit the side of the box. And if the box is grounded like it should be, well, you're going to blow a fuse and possibly cause a shock hazard. But with these flush screws, or these flush terminals right here, it eliminates any chance of a problem like that, where you can touch that right on there, and there's no issue. Now, of course, if you strip it back too far, like I was saying earlier, like this, I know this is the white wire, but, you know, whatever, this is just for an example. So you see that that's got extra wire exposed right there, and now you're causing a problem. Maybe because your ground wire could fold up, you know, when you're putting it in the box, and that ground wire can hit like that right there, you know, depending on how it's folded. So you want to make sure and not strip back too much and do the proper amount right here. And let me use the right wire here so that I don't get too many critics. So that's all it is. Push, click, and done. So they're right. You just lift up the lever, put the wire in with the proper amount stripped back, and that's it. It's good to go. Very nice. Right there. Very nice. They've even done the same thing with the ground. They've eliminated the screw. There we go. Very nice. And these will take up to 12 gauge, so you can use 14 or 12 gauge. Although this is a 15 amp outlet and 12 gauge wires are usually associated with a 20 amp circuit. So anyway, yeah, just lift the tab and the wire comes right out. So very nice. I do like that. All right, so another neat feature of this receptacle is it's tamper resistant. So if you try to push in on one side right there, you can't get in there. But if you use a regular cord, so you're pushing both sides at the same time, there we go, no problem. So tamper resistant plugs are pretty much required everywhere. And I happen to agree with this one wholeheartedly. When I was about 2 years old, I did stick a bobby pin in one of these outlets, and well, I was in for quite a surprise. So I'm still here, but you know, it's a bad thing. So another neat feature that these things have is this kind of a tongue and groove system right here where they self-space each other. If you use them in multiple gang boxes, two gang, 3 gang, you just put these tabs right next to each other and then tighten them down, you know, making sure they're straight this way in the box and they're self-spacing. So I do like that a lot. No more fidgeting around to find the right distance, you know, to make the cover fit, the plug cover. All right, so with any electrical project, the first thing you'll want to do is verify that the power is off. Make sure there's no problems. Let's go ahead and remove these screws with my Milwaukee ECX screwdriver and get that outlet right out of the wall there. Go ahead and loosen up the screw terminals and remove all the wires from the screws. Very simple and straightforward. Okay, and there we go. Now, if you were kind of short on wire, you could straighten out the loops in the wires, but I've got plenty of wire, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut off all the loops. It's easier and faster. And then I'll go ahead and restrip the appropriate amount right there and check it on the strip gauge to make sure it's the proper amount. So just like it says, click, you know, undo the levers right there and go ahead and push, click and push. So I like to kind of hold the wires in, make sure they're all the way down. And done. Click, push, and done, just like they said. Very good. Now go ahead and do the same thing to the other side. I like the way that they've labeled the caps right there, black and white, so that there's no way to mistake, you know, getting those backwards or anything. So one more thing I wanted to show you right here is if you wanted to make this a split circuit right here, where say the top was switched and the bottom was constant, you can break that little tab off right there, and that will take care of that. So go ahead and push the outlet back into the wall. Get the screws back in it, making sure that nothing is shorting or anything like that where it's not supposed to be. Get the plug cover back on, and I do like to leave my screws either vertical or horizontal. And we'll go ahead and turn the power back on and verify that everything is wired correctly. All right, so as you can see, that install really did go pretty simple. It's click, push, and done. It's that simple. It's very straightforward, and I do like that. So would I use these again? Yeah, I probably would. I do like them. One thing I didn't like about them is they're only available at Home Depot. And in my store here locally, they weren't even available at the store. I had to order it from the website and wait for the mail. Now, granted, they did come pretty quickly, but if I needed them in a hurry, like I'm working on a job and I need them now, you go down to the local Lowe's and you can't get them. You got to order them. So I don't like that. But nevertheless, they do work pretty well. Now, let's talk about the pricing a little bit. They're about $3.50 for a single receptacle, about $24.99 for a pack of 10. The switches were about the same. I think the switches were $3.28 for a single pole, and then a pack of 10 was still $24.99. Now, these also do come in a 3-way switch. This is a single pole switch, and the 3-way switches were a bit more expensive, but still not that bad. All right, so one thing I did notice is they don't come in a GFI and they don't come in a 20-amp receptacle. So they accept 12-gauge wires, as I was saying earlier, but being a 15-amp receptacle, you're probably not going to use that anyway. All right, so I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful. Thanks for watching.